Good morning, everyone. So this is the Nearpod lesson. I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand how to do it. Please make sure that you're putting your name on there. And read over this. These are your notes for Pythagorean theorem. Now, when you go into this, you're going to get open-ended questions, a mini quiz, and then drawing examples as well. So I'll go over each type of example so you guys understand what you're doing. Make sure that you're reading the question at the top. Like on this one, it says, do you think this is only true about a right triangle? Please answer that. When you answer, there's a button at the bottom right which says submit. Submit your answer so that it gets recorded. I put some visuals, so like some pictures. If you just click on them, they'll expand so you could get a closer look at them, especially for the ones where you actually have to solve a problem or look at it closer. Okay, so this one's just going to be a sentence about whether you think this is true only about right triangles or not. And then you have a quiz based on if you've done the previous example or the previous assignment with the Google Forms. Which ones are the legs? You can choose multiple answers, so whichever ones you think are the legs, you can choose. And then you go next to the next question, which one is the hypotenuse? This one, I'll tell you right now, should only have one answer. And then use the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared and set up the equation. So which of these is the correct equation? And this one, it is only one answer as well. Okay, and then when you're done, just make sure that you click submit. And then once you submit, then you'll get your score. Okay, after that, you go into more questions. Again, please read the instructions at the top. It says evaluate the equation from the previous question. Remember the order of operations. So that means parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and then adding and subtracting. What is your result on both sides? So I should see something along these lines. When you type in, it should be whatever you got on the left equal to whatever you got on the right. Okay. Some people have been putting sentences. If it's getting across the same message, you're fine. You don't have to go back and change it. But for those of you that are just now starting, that's more so what I'm looking for. Again, please make sure you put submit, and then it moves you on to the next slide. So then you have to read this to understand what the Pythagorean theorem is, and so that you can answer the following ones. Here, this is just fill in the blank, so you just put these where you think they belong. And then you click done and move on. This one, it says, is this a right triangle? So this one's actually going to be an example. So here you just have the picture. And then on the next slide, it's your turn to actually answer it. So when I say, is this a right triangle, I need you to answer yes or no. And but you can't just say yes or no without any reasoning. It says identify A, B, and C. So you look at these numbers, you need to be identifying them with whatever you think they are. If you write them just like this, like if you think 6 is A, you can write it like that. If you think 9 is B, you can write it like that. Or some people have been writing it on the side like A equals this, B equals that, C equals this. And then this one, like I said, it's going to be an example. So here, if you just identify A, B, and C, you're fine. Click submit, move on. I go ahead and identify them for you. And then we put it into the equation. So this one, I think most people are having trouble with. It says use the A, B, and C from the question before and write the equation. It's okay if you can't actually do the squared. So like if you think A is 6, then it should be A, and then you can use the caret and then 2. In math and in your calculator, that's what squaring means, or that's how we write squaring. So if you just write that for me, I'll know what you're talking about. And then I actually created a shortcut so that it did turn into the square. So every time I write the caret 2, it's going to change it to square. If you guys are using Apple, you can go to Settings, General, Keyboard, and then Text Replacements, and then that's just where I put replace my caret 2 and replace it with squared. Okay. But if you don't want to do that or don't know how to do that, it's fine. You could just draw the caret and it's still all the same stuff. And then make sure you have your equal and then your c squared on the other side. Submit it, move on. Okay, this one should be a sentence. It says, what does it mean if my a squared plus b squared does not equal c squared? Like in number 1, where we ended up with the result, which if you did number 1, you should have ended up with 100 equals 81. Now, if you remember from solving equations, that means no solution. But remember, our question is this a right triangle? So what does that mean as far as is this or is this not a right triangle? All of these questions, number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you should be actually doing the work for all of them. So here it tells you make sure the longest side is your C, or else you're going to have mistakes. A and B will be the other 2 shorter sides, which are your legs. And A and B, if you label, like for example here, 13 is my biggest side, 5 and 12 are the shorter ones. If you label 5 as A, that's fine. And if you label 12 as A, that's fine. But you cannot label 13 A or B because that's the longest side. And then you solve it and answer the question. So the question is this a right triangle? And here I also told you if it's equal, it is a right triangle. If it's not equal, it is not a right triangle. So I'll do this one with you guys. So we said A would have to be my 5, B my 12, and C my 13. As long as 5 and 12 are either your A and your B, you're fine. You would then go ahead and set up your equation. Okay, once you do your exponents, you'll have 2 numbers that you need to add. And then 13 squared is 169. Once you add these, we want to see if this number actually equals 169. If it does equal, then yes, it is a right triangle. But if it does not equal, then it's going to be no, it's not a right triangle. So I need the yes or no as part of your answer too, okay? And then submit, you move on. Here's another question similar. Again, if you need to see the picture bigger, just expand it. Okay, but then again, the question is this a right triangle? So make sure that you are answering that question. Number 4, 5, and 6 are all the same. Number 7, this one is the first one where it says find the missing angle. So here you see you have 2 numbers, and you need to find that third side. Once you find it, please just do it on a separate sheet of paper. You do not need to worry about it showing all your work on this one. Just find the answer, and then whatever your answer is, type it in. You can even put C equals 13 or B equals 13 or whatever variable that is. But I just need the number on there, and then you can submit and move on. Okay, I don't need an explanation for those. And then 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are just the same thing. Okay, so if you have any other questions, just make sure you are contacting us through Google Classroom or Instagram.